We're back at Investor Townhall's headquarters in San Diego, California. I'm your host, Daniel Wong. On today's program, we're welcoming back Richard Surber of Sack Lunch Productions. Richard, thanks so much for taking the time with us again today.
Glad to be here, Daniel.
Well, Richard, so excited for you here. You know, we obviously cover a lot of the equity crowdfunding space, and you just recently announced that you're going to be doing a Reggae Plus for up to $14 million. Can you tell us a little bit about, why you're doing that and what the offering is?
Well, it has been a long time in the making. First off, Daniel, we put a ton of work into getting to this point. But the more I speak to everybody, Reggae Plus seems to be the way to go for Sack Lunch Productions because of the massive type of followers that we have, the type of events that we throw, and I'm excited to be able to give an opportunity, an initial public offering type opportunity that is usually only available to institutional investors. So, I mean, there's a number of reasons as to why we went this way.
Definitely. And we'll get into that because I think you are a prime candidate. Before we start diving into that, though, let's talk about what the offering actually is for the listeners and audience out there. You seem to be offering about 2.8 million Series E preferred shares, really about $5 per share. Is that correct?
You got it.
So go ahead.
No, I was going to say that one of the things that's unique, about this particular class of shares, first off, there are no Series E shares owned by anybody at this point. But one of the conversion features is something that is typically only available to insiders. So when this gets up and going, the investor is going to have the opportunity to convert the Series E into common. They can strategically time when they do that, and they're going to get a built-in 20% discount to whatever the common's trading at the time of conversion. So.
Yeah, and this is one of the things I love about equity crowdfunding. It gives the average investor, the non-accredited investor, an opportunity to invest and get the same type of offerings, the same types of opportunities as an accredited investor would. So very excited to hear you're doing that and utilizing these new fundraising laws there. Let's also talk about, for your company, the way it's positioned. You have a pretty high revenue producing model here. Tell us why, that's a great deal for investors compared to maybe some of the other Reggaes they've seen out there.
Well, I mean, I've looked at some of these very successful, Reggae offerings out there, and, some of them have no revenues. Some of them have nominal revenues. Some of them have, negative net worths of over $5 million. Some of them have very few followers. The thing that you got here with Sack Lunch Productions, last year, we did just under $15 million in revenues. Before raising any capital right here. So I believe we have a very, very, very solid foundation, which will allow us to do some pretty phenomenal things with the company. I mean, really fine-tune a lot of the events, create additional events, add to, the schedule. With regard to these events, improve profitability, improve operating efficiencies. We're just going to be able to do a ton of things once we have the capital to make that happen. So, I mean, we're light years ahead of some of these other companies that have no balance sheet, no revenues, no operating history. We have a team that's in place right now, and we've enjoyed tremendous success in so many ways at this point. So I think that this Reggae Plus, could be the gasoline needed to really, accelerate growth.
And I think that's a very important, thing to note for investors out there. So we cover a lot of equity crowdfunding. And in addition to that, we talk about which companies fit this model. And obviously with the cult following you have, the type of fans, obviously there's a lot of people you can reach. Tell us a little bit about how you reach these people and the types of impressions, the types of views that your company gets just by having these events.
We kind of alluded to this in a couple of the other shows. 90% of our budget is done online through digital ads, predominantly through Facebook, right? So as a result of running a lot of these digital ads, on a weekly basis, on average, over the last couple of months, over 5 million, eyeballs, 5 million impressions have seen, one of our events or one of our posts associated with one of our events. So, I mean, followers on the Color Me Rad page, for instance, exceed over 2 million at this point. The engagement is tremendously robust with regard to that particular brand, and every day we're adding additional followers across all of our brands. I mean, the biggest and most successful event that we're throwing right now is called the Lantern Fest, and we expect to have over 200,000, maybe as many as 220,000 participants show up at those events. So the reach that this particular company has for its size is the reason why I think we have such a leg up on most of these other companies that have tried to raise money or even have successfully raised money under Reg A. And then the story is compelling as well. I mean, the content that we have is second to none.
Well, I think that's a great thing there. I mean, these events are growing regularly, and obviously, the more people that attend, the more audience you have, the more impressions you have, and these are fun events. What I like to talk about here is, obviously these events promote positivity. They promote people coming together, people getting off their screens, people actually coming out and being together, especially in these times of turmoil that we have in the country. Are there some cool stories or something you have that you can maybe share with us about some of these events that you guys have experienced?
Oh yeah, I mean, all you got to do is just go to the blog section for the Lantern Fest. I mean, that's what the Lantern Fest is about. It's about bringing people together. It's about, if someone's lost a loved one, it's about letting go, or if you have aspirations, for something. It's about coming together with your family, friends, and I guess in a lot of ways having a heartfelt experience, something that really is emotionally touching, something that allows, I think, people to connect. Everybody is so almost addicted, to their screens at this point, that I think that a lot of our events are kind of a counterbalance. Counterbalance of that, I think it's important for people to get out and experience things together, not just online or through a screen, right?
Absolutely, and these events are definitely a lot of fun. We hope people out there, the audience listening, will, if it comes to your city, if it happens to be in your area, go check out one of these events. Richard, it looks like that's about all the time we have for today, but we want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hey, thank you, Daniel.
All right, guys. Well, that was Richard Surber of Sack Lunch Productions. Follow their Facebook to find out when this Reggae Plus is going to be launched. Catch our next interview, because we're going to be covering this Reggae offering, what's going on, how you can invest, and how you can get skin in the game. I'm Daniel Wong. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you next time. Stay tuned for the next interviews here on InvestorTownhall.com.